Hello and welcome to a hopefully new long-running series on my channel for about, that is 3 weeks before Crown Tundra releases. I'm probably going to be taking a look at each of the Pokemon that are going to be coming back, or at least a bit more important Pokemon that are Nidos, Legendaries, pretty much all Legendaries. I want to take a closer look into them and, for example, analyze them for a use in Crown Tundra metagame. That is, how are they match up against new Pokemon, how are they match up against old Pokemon like Cinderace and Venusaur and Tyranitar. And the advantage we have right now is the fact that we know all these Pokemon. We know all their base stats. We actually know what kind of TRs and TMs are they going to learn through the datamine we got all the way back in when Pokemon Home released. I'm going to talk about it in a second actually. I think that's all from the start. I think we're going to take a look in bite-sized information for like 6 to 7 minutes each time about 3 of Pokemon like Legendary Birds like today. And we're going to be taking a look at calculations and optimal EV spreads in my opinion about these Pokemon. I think that could be great fun. So let's look into the new moves the Legendary Birds are actually getting this time. Let me just swap some stuff here. Come on. Nice. Alrighty, let's look at Articuno first. What kind of new moves are they gonna get? Now, we're probably all waiting for Zapdos, but we have to go through Articuno first. So, it gets Weather Ball right now. That's pretty useful, actually. It can take advantage of other weathers, but honestly, it's most likely will be very happy about setting Max Hailstorm for its own Snow Cloak. That is right. We are getting hidden abilities back through Hidden Ability Patch that has been not only datamined, but also confirmed in a new trailer. So we're going to be getting Snowcloak Articuno back, which is going to be great fun if we go for Max Hailstorm. So I don't think Weather Ball is going to be that much of a big deal. But it got new physical options as well, that being Icicle Spear, as you can see here, and actually a Brave Bird as well, which is very funny. But Zapdos the elephant in the room. So what does it get? It gets Weather Ball. You can see it, but it gets Weather Ball again, pretty useful. This Pokemon actually doesn't directly interact with the weather like the other 2 birds, so it can use it for some fun stuff, I guess. It gets Eerie Impulse for more annoying if it goes for Tailwind support. But the biggest change, guys, it finally gets a good, decent flying type move in Air Slash. Not only Air Slash, but Hurricane for mega powerful Dynamax moves. So that's very useful, and I'm very happy for the Zapdos. It also got Brave Bird finally. In previous generations, it basically got Sky Attack with Power Hub, which is not a very good combination, as you might have guessed. But now it finally gets some good flying type moves, which it will definitely make use of while Dynamaxing, because remember, Max Airstream is a very powerful move. I think that's all from Zapdos. It just makes me smile, because Zapdos is, at least Kantonian Zapdos is actually one of my favorite Pokemon. It carried me through so many regionals, that is, so I'm pretty happy for Zapdos getting finally some good flying type moves. Now, Moltres doesn't look that good on a first glance, right? Look, it gets Mystical Fire, that's pretty useful, that's pretty cool. It gets Weather Ball again, pretty cool, pretty useful. And then it gets Flare Blitz and Brave Bird again for more physical type offense, but we're not done yet. We actually datamined the new tutor moves from Isle of Armor. Where do we see that Articuno gets Triple Axle? Don't know what that's about, but all of them get Dual Wing Beat. Zapdos actually can use Rising Voltage to some good extent, because Rising Voltage is double base power is in effect if the opponent's Pokemon is on the ground, not Zapdos, so it can use Rising Voltage to some extent. But look at that, Moltres not only getting Burning Jealousy as a great utility move, but also Scorching Sands for finally some amazing ground type coverage. So Moltres is looking pretty good. A lot of like Zapdos and Moltres have definitely gotten buffed. Articuno not so much, but hey, it's Articuno, you can't really expect the generation to save it. At least they gave him heavy duty boots in singles, but that's for another chapter on its own in singles. I'm taking a look at VGC now. So let's switch to the showdown, look at the optimal EV spreads. Actually, alrighty, so I'm back. I just gonna need mom came home, so I had to cut the video for a second right now. But we're back to the EV spread compoundum, or why do I think these EV spreads are the best for these kind of Pokemon, alright? Some of these spreads in the future might not be very much that useful, but some of them are like Regis are mostly going to be just running turn 52, turn 52, but for some cases I think more of these Pokemon can use more intelligent spreads like I'm showing right now. So what's the deal with this Zapdos? What does it have Life Orb? What does it need Hurricane? Well, Life Orb max Airstream from Zapdos actually one-shots Venusaur, one-shots 100% of the time. So that's very useful calculation we probably need to pull off since Zapdos already has a good matchup against the Venusaur. That means resisting the grass moves, being immune to the ground moves, and just, well, Maxx is not as powerful Dynamax move like the others, so it already has the good matchup, so why not take advantage of it? Now, how about the defense investment? Why do we need it? Well, with Dynamax, the Zapdos actually takes the Max Hellstorm from Metagross one, how much? 93% of the time, so if it gets +2 attack from a Brutal Swing from Tornadus, it will take the attack. Although the Hail and Life Orb Recall are going to be a bit of a pain, but you still are very favorable in surviving the attack. So I think this defensive investment is going to be quite great. And now for the speed, why do we need this much speed? Well, Dracovish is going to get Sand Rush, alright, but it's not going to be 100% of the usage right now. Or in the Crown Tundra, I predict. Look, the Dracovish already needs sand support, so if any kind of team wants Dracovish, it doesn't have Tyranitar on the team already, they will use Choice Scarf Strong Jaw again. It's still very efficient, it's gonna be still a very efficient set on it, so what we do actually is after single max Airstream we outspeed it by 1 point, so we're gonna be outspeeding Dracovish and just revenge KOing it in response. And I'm very sure we actually outspeed Cinderace as well after +1, so I think this is pretty good spread. It's gonna be very useful. Now for other calculations, I calced, unfortunately I calculated a lot of these calculations with turn 52 special attack on these Zapdos, unfortunately. But from what I'm seeing, we actually should be one-shotting Tapu Bulu. If you choose to ignore the Metagross EV spread, you can actually, or I mean the Metagross surviving calculation, you can actually go like turn 52 special attack, which I think is probably the best second spread, and even me might change my mind. But here are some highlight calculations right here. Tapu Bulu gets one-shotted by Max Airstream Life Orb, even in Dynamax. The Max Flare doesn't one-shot Tapu Koko, but with Life Orb Recall it gets dangerously close. Max Lightning with turn 52 special attack gets very dangerously close to one-shotting Tapu Lele. The Venusaur gets killed by Max Flare actually if it's sunny already, without help of a Max Airstream. So you can, for example, run Air Slash and get the KO still, because Stab and Sun Boost are absolutely the same. Stakataka doesn't get one-shotted by Max Lightning, but again, get dangerously close. Just do not fake it out though, it's not going to take much damage from that, but if you get that little chip on it from pretty much any spread move, you're going to get it in KO range. Some non-Life Orb calculations include that Landorus is getting dangerously close to getting KO'd by Max Airstream, but not without Life Orb. With Life Orb is actually like pretty much guaranteed KO. Max Airstream actually one-shots Naganadel without Life Orb. Max Airstream gets very dangerously close to one-shotting Dracovish, and Primordial gets one-shotted pretty much clearly, so... And Torkoal gets dangerously close to getting KO'd as well, so... These are some good calculations. How about defensive calculations on Zapdos? Well, Rock Slide from Landorus does absolutely nothing. It's 4-hit KO actually, on more defensive Zapdos, which could lead to some funny interactions with Weakness Plus Zapdos I actually ran as a kid back in seniors in 2015. I loved Weakness Plus Zapdos, and now it's probably going to get new breath, so I'm looking forward to that. Max Rockfall actually from Entei's Stone Edge is a free KO as well. Max Lightning from Tundris is free KO as well, even with Life Orb Max Lightning. Defiant Beasted though, it do it KO, so watch out for that. Life Orb Max Rockfall from Nihilego against 4 HP Zapdos is not a one-shot 100% of the time. But if Zapdos takes any Life Orb Recall, all the cats affected by the sand, it's efficiently a one-shot, guaranteed. Drakian's max rockfall, probably gonna have to fix that after the video since I'm saying 52 attack here, is not a one-shot. And Life Orb max Hailstorm from Lapras that previously one-shot Dragapult on the spot 100% of the time, now has only 6% to one-shot the Zapdos, so bit of a letdown for Life Orb Lapras coming into the Series 7. I think that's actually a very important calculation here. Wow, pretty important. Now let's get into the Articuno. Actually, got it a little bit down here. I calced Moltres first on the document. I'm actually gonna most likely link the document in the description as well, with all those calculations, since they're pretty interesting. Now, Articuno is probably gonna be the biggest letdown of a bird, as you might have guessed. It really doesn't hold up too well, but it's pretty good defensively, and it got the very unique typing, so at least that's going for it. But offensively, it doesn't one-shot Zapdos. Doesn't one-shot it, even with Life Orb max Hailstorm from Blizzard, it doesn't one-shot it. I mean, if Zapdos takes, again, Life Orb Recall and you get hail damage, it's probably one-shot, but a bit of a letdown here. If you, for example, get max Airstream boost first, you're not gonna one-shot it. Now, Multiscale Dragonite, which a lot of you are hyping up right now, is not gonna get one-shotted by Life Orb max Hailstorm from Blizzard from Articuno. Not sure if it's going to do like Thunder Punch Max Lightning one-shot in the back, but we're gonna see how the Dragonite setter is gonna revolve. I didn't think about it yet at the time of recording this video. Now, that being said, this EV spread actually gives a ridiculous amount of bulk. Max Steel Spike from Metagross doesn't one-shot. Rock Slide from Landorus Adamant is a free-hit KO. Free-hit KO, that's ridiculous. Yeah, and Max Lightning from Zapdos, not a one-shot. Life Orb Max Lightning from Moltres Tundra is not a one-shot. Rising Voltage actually is a 70 base power. I didn't know about it mechanically correctly, but even if it was 140 base power, it wouldn't one-shot. That being said, Max Lightning from Tapu Koko with Life Orb doesn't one-shot. Heathran Max Flare doesn't one-shot. Cinderace's Pyro Ball, 160 base power, gets dangerously close to one-shotting, but doesn't one-shot. If you have a little bit more defense on Articuno, it never one-shots. Yeah, it's that ridiculous, really. Articuno is really big, thick boy. And let's get into the Moltres, which right before this video, I actually looked into my Isle of Armor move tutors, and I was very happy about finding out it gets Scorching Sands as an amazing ground coverage. Now, why is that 76 HP there? Well, it's for a couple of reasons. So, the Helios Power Gem now never one-shots. I mean, it actually does 12% of the time. But that's very far away from actually getting a guaranteed one-shot on it. Tundra's Max Lightning, Life Orb Wild Charge from Defined Tundras doesn't one-shot. It just doesn't. So that's very amazing actually, because I predict that thing to be very popular. Rock Slide from Landorus is a 2-hit KO, but not 100% of the time. It's a 100% of the time. That's good enough for Moltres, that is, because most likely it will get Max Airstream up and then just do some magic. That being said, Max Airstream into the Landorus actually simply one-shots it. We know that because we saw the Zapdos calculation before, so that's pretty useful. Stonage from Entei doesn't one-shot at all. It's actually very far away from one-shotting. So yeah, that's the dynamax calculations, that is. Just so you guys are in a picture right now. But let's look at the dynamax offensive calculations. Max Flare into Metagross, Life Orb, Overheat, one-shots Metagross. Finally something that one-shots it, because you're probably all are gonna watch and try to find what actually one-shots Metagross. But you need to be modest. Timid doesn't work here. Metagross takes Timid Max Flare. And probably one-shots back with Max and Headbutt. That is kind of sad, but that's reality against the Metagross, really. You're all gonna feel the pain. I have to make a video about Metagross very soon. That thing is ridiculous from what I have theory on. Now, Max Flare from Moltres' Overheat actually one-shot Stack Attacker without neither going for Max Ground. So if your opponent will have a chance to switch into something safe to Max Ground, go for Max Flare anyways and just one-shot a Stack Attacker. It's still a brutal one-shot. As I've said before, Landorus gets one-shotted. Tapu Lele actually gets one-shotted by Life Orb Modest Max Airstream on the spot. It doesn't outspeed it after single Max Airstream, but it's gonna one-shot it pretty brutally back. Scorching Sands against Nihilego. Scorching Sands, that is, not max ground, is actually a one-shot on Nihilego, generally. And so is against Tapu Koko. So if you're like, if you're just setting up the element and you do not need the dynamax Moltres, if you do not want to dynamax it, you do not need to. You're still going to be KOing these threats. But we chat for dynamax or focus on Nihilego, because then it gets pretty much free special attack based. Actually, if I... oh, it's not max use, thank god. Because max use, if it gets KO'd with Nihilego, it gets +2 special attack, which is quite brutal, but... this is max rockfall, that it only boosts special defense, don't worry, it only boosts like base 120 special defense. And that being said, that ends the video right here. Hopefully you enjoyed it, hopefully you learned something new, and next time with the legendary cats, dogs, beasts, I don't know, we're gonna be taking a look at legendary beasts. So I'll catch you next time, and have a nice day.